Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Another week, another episode. This is Stats Over Politics. As always, I'm your host, Shaun alongside my guys, Kevin Dent, Kaz Johnson of Kazzy Bear TV. Jaevon will be joining us very soon here on episode number 129. Time has flown by. Kevin, how are we doing today?
I'm doing well, man. Now that I've had almost a full 24 hours to, fully develop my thoughts. I couldn't watch football for the rest of the day, fellas. As soon as that game ended, I just rotted on the couch. Found a new TV show to watch. I couldn't watch any football. I was dumbfounded on the way we lost. But I'm always happy to be back with my guys. Episode 129. Like Shaun said, time is flying. So, next thing you know, will be episode 229.
Yeah, and what Kevin was alluding to, for those who may not know, is the Philadelphia Eagles had their winning streak snapped yesterday. And so, Kaz, how does that make you feel?
Cool with it. Cool with
Are
it.
you, though?
I am. Because at the end of the day, we needed to rely on Detroit to lose to even get the 1 seed. And if they don't lose, this loss means absolutely nothing at the end of the day. So it's kind of like a polished turd. It's a stinker. We went without our franchise quarterback for 3/4 of football, and we went without our best safety on our team, one of our staples on our defense throughout the second half of football, and we're on the road against a division rival. So came down to the wire. It came down to literally a last-second touchdown to lose the game. It's football, man. These things happen, man. We've seen it happen to every team this year so far, besides the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs had the only legit one loss that actually where it's like, okay, no, the team, you got outplayed. I didn't see a game where we got outplayed. I saw a game where it's like we faced a lot of adversity, and unfortunately, it was a game of inches, and the Commanders just had that much more in them. So,
yeah, they certainly did. And so let's not waste any more time, guys. Let's get right to it. As the Washington Commanders beat the Philadelphia Eagles 36-33 on Sunday afternoon. And as we have been alluding to, Jalen Hurts, the starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, went out early in this one with a concussion. Insert Kenny Pickett, former co-host Gary's favorite player in the NFL, who is now the backup quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, former starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so Kenny Two Gloves got some significant action again, and the Commanders were able to overcome a 5-1 turnover deficit to go on to win this game in last-second fashion. So, Kevin, you were saying that it basically ruined your day. I'm sorry to hear that, but if you could give us your analysis on the game that was.
So everyone knows we're coming in riding a 10-game winning streak. Vibes are high. All week I heard, Lattimore's playing this week. It's going to be a whole different game. Go out there, walk them down. Easy, no sweat drive, touchdown. And then I hear we kick the ball off, and I hear McCaffrey to return. And I'm like, shit. What is this dude doing back here returning kicks? Almost takes it back to the crib on us. Very next play, Jalen Carter strips Brian Robinson Jr. We go down, we score again. They turn the ball over. We go down, score again. Jalen gets hurt. Now we have 3 quarters without our franchise quarterback. All I've heard was Jalen Hurts is this, Jalen Hurts is that. Maybe you guys paid him too early, A, B, C, and D. But there's a reason why Saquon Barkley is about to get Eric Dickerson's record. It's because he shares the backfield with an elite quarterback, a dual threat quarterback. For the first quarter, Saquon's stats, 7 carries for 109 yards and 2 touchdowns. Quarters from 2 to 4, he finished with 46 yards and 0 touchdowns. It's a huge difference. And people want to say, well, Kevin, you guys' defense did this, your defense did that. If Jalen Hurts plays this game, I don't think there's any doubt with anyone on this podcast saying that the Eagles lose this game. We went out there. We were dominant. We've seen this team through and throughout. And I think this game simply came down to 4 plays. One being the Smitty drop for 2 minutes and 5 seconds on the clock. Fourth quarter, no timeouts for the Commanders. We get that. We need the ball. Game over. 3rd and 2. No, it was a 36, excuse me, 36. Saquon does a wheel route. He goes out there and he drops it. The two biggest play of the games were 2 3rd-and-1s, a third and 2 and a 3rd-and-1. 1 3rd-and-1, 1 3rd-and-2, the one I'm referring to. Kenny, we passed the ball. On any 3rd-and-2 play, we're going to tush push it. And if we don't get it, we're going to tush push it again. We're passing the ball. Kenny doesn't recognize the blitz, and we get sacked. Jake Elliott then has to go out there being 0 for 6 on 50-plus field goals, and what does he do? He's now 0 for 7. The next time we get into a situation like that, 3rd and 2, Saquon is playing quarterback wildcat formation. We've never seen that all season. This just goes to show that Jalen Hurts is a necessity for this team. He's an asset. He should be in the MVP conversation because without him, look at what this team looks like. And yes, I get it. Kenny threw a 3-yard slant touchdown, and he did very well. But after the game, he came out and said, I don't throw the ball to these guys. So it took me a while to get going, and I told Alyssa, he is looking one way and one way only. That's number 11. If he's not, you don't have to guard anybody else. He's only going to number 11, and that's how the interception happened. They baited him into throwing it to number 11, and who did he throw it to? Number 11. So we can sit here and talk about the defense and how we did this and how we did that. If we make one of those 4 plays, we're sitting here 11 games in a row with a chance for the 1 seed. But like Kaz mentioned, because we didn't handle business against Atlanta, our future was not in our hands. We dropped the ball, literally and figuratively, and then we did the same thing yesterday. We can't have a team turn the ball over 5 times and we not score a touchdown. We scored 6 points off of those 4 turnovers that Jalen Hurts was not on the field. So you can sit here and say Jalen Hurts is this, Jalen Hurts is that. Without Jalen Hurts, we don't have the success that we have. And I know a lot of people were texting me saying, Kevin, you weren't saying the same thing with Brock Purdy. I get it. If Cal Katera is guarding Nick Bosa and gets blown up and he just blows up Jalen Hurts and he hurts his UCL, that's different. Jalen Hurts was in a diving position. He's a quarterback, so he's diving on the ground and a dude spears him in the hand. Those are 2 different plays. But you know what? You take them how you take them. I was always going to show up. I take my W's the way I take my L's. And it's kind of funny how it all works out because if they went out and we went out, we're going to do this again at the link, and Jalen Hurts will be playing. So I hope all the Washington Commanders fan had a great time at the parade. I can't wait to see the banner go up, but congratulations to you guys. You guys won a Super Bowl, and why not you guys?
Kaz, as a fellow Eagles fan, what was your reaction to this game and why?
Yeah, I mean, Kevin said everything. He said everything like legitimately. I don't really have much to add to that. Besides just my thoughts moving forward as an Eagles fan, the main emphasis is, again, if Detroit wins out, it's irrelevant. I mean, it just is. I'm not really sure who could be the 3 seed because, I mean, between the NFC West and NFC South, I don't think that they have a record that's going to be able to fare with the Eagles right now. Like, nobody can finish with a better record than us, if I'm not mistaken. So the 2 seeds on lock no matter what. The only thing we could have done was get the 1 seed, and even that, again, was not guaranteed. This loss meant nothing. You guys understand, backup quarterbacks don't win often. It's not a stat where it's like, oh yeah, backups all the time. You have great lines, having great offenses. This and that. They don't win often.
That's why Brock Purdy was a big deal.
Anyways,
but it's different, Shaun. Like, do you not think that's different? Like, Brock Purdy getting hurt was a scheme error.
He was the last pick. I know. I'm not even getting to the NFC Championship part of that, but I'm just saying how, like, Brock Purdy was the 3rd string quarterback that year. Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant, and he came in and he kept winning. Like, that was the thing that was. We're gonna get to the 49ers game later in our week 16 NFL recap because it's not worth talking about in depth. But like that game on Sunday against the Dolphins, it just kind of just gave me deja vu a little bit to when Brock Purdy made his first career start because it was against the Dolphins. Or actually, he didn't even start that game. He came in for an injured Jimmy Garoppolo. Anyways, point being, Brock Purdy doing it wasn't normal, as Kaz was getting to.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer that we don't call anomalies. they're not an exception to the rule. Anomalies are anomalies, like by definition. It's not normal. It doesn't happen often. So yeah, you'll have a couple backup quarterbacks that come in. I mean, look at even like Josh Dobbs. What was it last year when he came in and did the cool things he did for a couple of weeks? And I was, you'll have that happen every once in a while, but more often than not, when backups come in, it's usually a bad sign. Eagles have the best offensive line in the league. We have arguably the best wide receiver duo in the league behind Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, most likely, but it's arguable, at least top 3 for sure, without a doubt. Okay. We have the best defense ranked wise in the league right now. And we're going to get on the road against a division rival. You see the difference of having Jalen Hurts out of the game. And that's just what's relevant. This is coming from someone who's not a Jalen Hurts stan. I love my quarterback. I like my quarterback. I know I see his potential. I know what he can do. I know that he's not reaching his potential this season because he doesn't necessarily have to. But, like, it's a big fucking deal when he's not in the game. It's clear as day. Kenny Pickett, I'll say this. He did what a backup quarterback's supposed to do. Actually, he outdid most backup quarterbacks. He threw for 1 pick, expected. But he still had a touchdown. He's still, Devonta Smith dropped that ball. That would have looked really nice. If Kenny Pickett walks away with this win, nobody says anything about that pick. Nothing. Nobody. So there is just too many, like, things in that game that the Eagles, self-inflicted wounds that the Eagles, cause themselves, where it's like, hey, man, the Ravens did the same shit. The Ravens did the same shit against the Browns. The same thing. Any given day, we're putting $100 on the Browns to lose that game against the Ravens if you got it in your pocket. Same thing with this game right here. It's like, bro, we're going in there handling business. All right, we're not worried about Washington. We're not scared of Washington. We have no reason to, besides the fact that division games sometimes can be weird, and we're on the road. But at the end of the day, man, it's not a bad loss. It's actually a really good loss. Why? Because the fate wasn't in our hands to begin with, and it came down to the last second for them to win. They didn't come out there and beat our ass. It came down to us. Well, we screwed up, we hiccup, we screwed up, we didn't capitalize, screwed up. And they, yes, 5 turnovers. Don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. 5 turnovers, a lot of turnovers. But what are those turnovers when we don't capitalize? Who's truly at fault? Who is the lesser in the situation? Is it Washington for having 5 turnovers against the best defense in the NFL ranked wise? No, our defense did their job. The thing is, when it came down to our offense, we could not do enough. That's why Saquon in the second half didn't have barely any fucking yards. That's why Kenny Pickett did end up throwing the interception. That's why we ended up in a situation where we just could not score the ball. The offense was off without Jalen Hurts under center, and it ultimately came down to our demise. It led to our demise. Not a bad loss. Now, if this was a loss to lose the 1 seed, this would be a whole different conversation. It wasn't. We're still a 2 seed, and if Detroit wins out, we put this behind us. We know what it is. It's just that simple. Point blank period.
Well, and also the Commanders, like, let's give them credit too. Like, they're a good team. They got to 10 wins. They're 10-5 for the first time since like 1991 or something like that. It was the early 90s since they've done this. And so they're a good team. Even though they had 5 turnovers, they still found a way to win an intense division game against the division leaders, division rivals. And so props to the Commanders. Toddy would probably say right now that I'm letting you guys off easy by not really roasting the Eagles for losing this game. But, that's where being a father factors in. And that's why he's a little tardy right now. And so
before we move on, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got to apologize to you, Shaun, because as soon as I started making fun of Moody, Jake Elliott turned into a fucking frog. So karma is a bitch, indubitably. Because if he makes that field goal, we go to overtime. But, I came on here and made fun of you guys, and now look at us.
Thank you.
Kickers have been bad all season. Like, even like Justin Tucker's been bad. So it's just all the good kickers are getting old, I guess.
Last thing real quick before we go on, I will say this too. 10-win streak, dude. Like, in what world is fucking 12-3 a bad record? In what world?
It's a bad record when you have a year like the Eagles did last year where you start 10-1 and then you end up at that point, even though they didn't even get to that point. But
it's a bad world when your 2 losses are from 1 drop pass.
Yeah, that is
We're 14-1 if they catch those 2 passes.
But here's the thing: you look at every team every year since ever, besides like the 2008 Patriots where they went undefeated, or 7 Patriots went undefeated all season long. Most 1 seeds or 2 seeds have this record right now. Like they finished with 3 losses. This is a normal great team. Like, this is a normal phenomenal team. The only team right now that looks better than us legitimately is obviously Kansas City, because you can't discredit that record. Okay. Buffalo, obviously they look really fucking good as well. And I would say the guys who have been leading the NFC the entire year, the Lions. So for us to have that happen to get 3 losses, okay, we're not perfect. It's all good. We'll get past it.
I feel like it also adds fuel to the fire too, just for Eagles fans and for the Eagles players going into the playoffs of like, yeah, we're not perfect, and now we're going to go into the playoffs and we are going to be perfect, and we're going to at least get to the Super Bowl. I mean, the boogeyman will probably be there waiting for them if they do get there again. But I guess we shall wait and see. And the Eagles, they end up losing a game, but like it was said earlier, it was a good loss ultimately. As we keep things moving here on episode 129 of Stats Over Politics, Shaun Hoko alongside Kevin Dent and Kaz Johnson. I just want to get to a couple of these YouTube comments real quickly, as Cousin James is in the building. He says in the YouTube comments, and also shout out to Uncle Manny, who says, "How about them Cowboys?" And then he also says, "A special thanks to the Podfather for the advice on the games," with the money signs. Shout out to Jaevon.
We try to tell you guys.
Toddy's hotline.
You want me some money this weekend? I told them. After I seen him win, because oh my gosh, Kaz, you're not in that group chat. Toddy hit for like $1,400 last week.
Yeah, it was off. It was off like a $12 bet too. Like it was crazy.
And then bro. Yeah, he did his thing.
All I needed to do was put $1 on my bet from week 14. That's all I needed to do. And then last week, I just needed for the Dolphins to win. And that would have been 2 back-to-back weeks of calling every game correct. But we don't talk about that. Hypotheticals are just out of the question. It is what it is.
Nah, fuck that. I had $600 if the Eagles would have fucking won by 4. Sold me. We need one stop.
And now Cass is in first place in our Stats Over Politics pick'em. So at least
no, I'm not. I saw your record. You missed 1 game this week.
Oh!
You're on fire right now.
Oh, I'm talking about this before the show. Sean's feature.
Yeah, don't be like that. I look at my damn. Sean ain't meant shit today.
Dude, I think he missed upsets. He picked Commanders and Raiders last week.
Yeah, yes. I think you maybe missed 1, maybe 2 games this week.
Let me see.
Okay, so to be fair, I did not just toss myself an alley-oop, I promise. I did. I had no idea how my picks turned out because I didn't count them up at all. I was just mentioning entering this week, we had a new leader, and that is you, Kaz.
You only missed 2 games. But we all missed 3.
I missed more than that.
Well, I missed 3 because I missed obviously the Cardinals, and then I picked the Jags, and then I chose the fucking Bucks. Cass chose the Cowboys like a genius.
Yeah, I think I picked. I guess I picked the Bucks.
I was so close.
The Cardinals.
The Panthers fucking sold us, bro. I can't believe the Panthers won.
Should have known with the Cardinals.
Fucking Kyler Murray, can't trust them.
When we had our NFC West division picks like a month ago, I was the only one to pick the Cardinals, and I look like a fucking fool right now. So there's that. But we're going to keep things moving. As the next game that we're going to get to, as we're focusing in depth here, is another division matchup and another very good game between 2 great teams. As the Ravens, they beat the Steelers 34-17 in Baltimore. This one was not close, and so I still think that the Steelers are for real. But I mean, they kind of got a little exposed in this game. Cass, what was your opinion of this division matchup?
I don't hate the Steelers, man. I don't. I'm going to start off by saying that. But earlier on, I think in this podcast, actually, if I'm not mistaken, if not in maybe one of my podcasts I did with somebody else, I said I think the Ravens are the second best team in the NFL. Obviously, time passed by, things changed a little bit, and they're probably not. I wouldn't have it as the second best team, but there was a reason why I did have them as the second best team, because the few losses that they did have were all self-inflicted. Like the same way the Eagles lost yesterday, was how the Ravens are losing games. Like, it's like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, you got guys dropping passes left to right. I mean, like, multiple drop passes. You're giving Derrick Henry, like, barely any touches when you know for a fact you give him 20 plus, you know what's going to happen. He's going to find the end zone. He's going to get over 100 yards for sure, without a doubt. Point blank, period. And then you got the Steelers, who start off really hot. They started off with Justin Fields winning X amount of games straight. They're undefeated. They throw in Russell Wilson. I thought it was a bad idea. It wasn't. Russ is cooking. George Pickens, obviously, he made a name for himself. He's been out for a couple weeks now, though. And I'm like, so you have the Steelers, who are probably very happy to be in the position that they're in, versus the Ravens, who've been there, done that. Bro, and they already beat the Ravens. They're not sweeping the Ravens. Okay, it's just like the Eagles versus the Cowboys. Every year, unless there's a team that's riddled with injury, we don't sweep each other because it's too competitive. It's too hard to win back-to-back division games, or not back-to-back, but 2 division games against a division rival, especially a rivalry as old as Steelers-Ravens. I mean, they're not a team. They're not a fan base. They're 2 fan bases that don't like each other. And for them to beat the Steelers of all teams, a team that was not even expected to make the playoffs this season, to beat the Ravens twice, I was like, hell no, absolutely not. I'm not surprised by this at all. Just look at the Ravens, man. Lamar Jackson, okay? You got Mark Andrews, who early this season, everybody's like, he's done. Proved to everybody, no, he's not. Isaiah Likely compliments very well. Derrick Henry, a good offensive line, and a very, very good rush defense. Who in the right mind said the Steelers are going to win this game? I don't see where and how. And George Pickens was out.
Well,
So Calvin Austin, Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, and Russell. No.
Mike Williams.
Mike Williams? No. Like, this game was supposed to be a blowout, and I'm glad that it was. I don't hate the Steelers, but let's just put respect on the Ravens' name. Dude, they run that fucking division. They should have 2, probably 3 more wins than what they have right now. I'm dead serious. They have shot themselves in the foot with
Browns and the Raiders
over and over and over again this season, without a doubt. The Steelers don't match up with the Ravens. Steelers have a good defense. They're very well coached. I do like them. They're a team that I would not want to see in the playoffs if they're going against, if they get like a 6 seed, something like that. I would not want to be, a 3 seed or anything like that. I would not want to play the Steelers because you never know. But they weren't gonna sweep the Ravens ever. It's just that simple.
Well, Kevin, before we get your thoughts on this game, I just got a little bit of a reminder of something that I wanted to mention. And it has something to do with the Steelers, as well as our former co-host, Gary, as well as cousin James, are going to be playing in the Stats Over Politics Fantasy Football League Championship this upcoming weekend, as James called his shot. He got revenge on Toddy a week after beating me. And Gary is moving on to the championship as well, after he beat cousin Cordell. And so I just wanted to mention that, because if I didn't mention it now, I would forget to mention it later. Kevin, what did you think about the Ravens beating Gary Steelers 34-17?
We finally saw the Ravens do what the Ravens need to do. When they lost the first game to the Steelers, Derrick Henry had 13 carries for 65 yards. Saturday, 24 carries, 162 yards. Derrick Henry, when they involve him, they're a whole different team. Like, I came on here and I was like, could you imagine us giving Saquon 13 carries? Joe Mixon getting 13 carries? Like, when you have these bell cow backs, you have to let them be bell cows. And if that means Lamar Jackson has to get under center and hand it off at a power eye, then that's what it means. You have the weapons. Derrick Henry, it takes his team to a whole nother level. And then Cass mentioned all the weapons. Zay Flowers, I know he's not the most consistent, but when he has a game, he's going for $1 and probably a touchdown or 2, hands down. And I'll be the first person to say, being a Big Ten fan, and Shaun, I don't know if you remember Rashad Bateman at Minnesota, dude was mid. Then they paid him this offseason, and I'm like, yeah, what the fuck is this dude doing? And him, just like Rashad, just like Zay Flowers, every other game or so, they're going to show up. Rashad Bateman had 1 catch for 14 yards, and it was a touchdown. That just goes to show this team is real boomer bust. their defense came to play. Kyle Hamilton is one of the best safeties in the world. Marlon Humphrey picking off Russell Wilson. And like Kaz mentioned, you look at the Steelers' record, and I think they're just happy to be here. They're going to make it to the playoffs, win the division. None of us would have picked them in the beginning of the season. Unfortunately, I mean, they're the third best team. No one's going to give respect to the Cleveland Browns, but the Cleveland Browns did better last year. So coming into the season, the Steelers' hype wasn't that much. And I'm sure, I'm sure I speak for Shaun. I think we all thought Russell Wilson was washed. Shaun was rooting for Justin Fields to keep the job. And
still am.
We talk about the dynamic that Jalen Hurts brings to the game, that Lamar Jackson's bringing to the game. Justin Fields could bring that same dynamic, so they don't have that. And when you're missing a guy like George Pickens and you have to throw guys out there like Mike Williams, Fairmouth, and then you have Calvin Austin, you just don't have the guys. And if you don't have the guys, that's what Russ is known for. He's known for the play action and the deep ball. You can't get a play action going if you don't have a run game. And unfortunately, Najee Harris just couldn't get it going today. The Ravens have one of the best defenses in the world. So they came in, they did what they expected to do so.
Yeah, they did. And this is what I expected the Ravens to do in the first matchup of this season. But then the Steelers were able to take care of them. And also, one of those strange but true facts about this is that this was Lamar Jackson's second start against the Steelers, I think, second or third. Like, I can't remember if it was before the first game this year or if it was before this game. But Lamar Jackson, considering that he's been in the NFL for 5 seasons now and he plays the Steelers twice a year, he doesn't have that many starts against the Steelers, which is very strange. But now we're seeing what happens. Go ahead, Kev.
I would say it's just so funny how those are not funny, but it's just a coincidence. And those are the 2 games that he misses during his injury. Like, you play these guys 2 games a year, no matter what. And those are the games that he has to miss out. And those are probably the worst games to miss out because I don't know if you guys have been watching the Hard Knocks, but they hate each other in that division. I thought the NFC West was bad. The AFC North, dude, in their meeting rooms, they're like, fuck these dudes. And I'm like, all right, well, the AFC North is real.
I haven't been watching, but that definitely sounds really entertaining. And it's always cool being a fly on the wall in those moments because none of us are going to ever know what it's like to be a professional athlete, most likely. But yeah, so it's always cool to see those moments. As we keep things moving here on episode 129 of Stats Over Politics, Shaun Holko alongside Kaz Johnson and Kevin Dent. For the audio-only listeners, you may have been missing out because I am pretty good at hitting the mute button. I'm not feeling well today, so I apologize for my lack of enthusiasm, but we're pushing through amid the sickness, and we're here for episode number 129. As now I need to correct the ticker because I accidentally put 15 instead of 16. It's now time for our Week 16 NFL recap. Kaz, I'm going to start things off with you with another competitive division matchup as the Chargers beat the Broncos 34-27 on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, I mean, I did pick the Chargers to win this one when it came to the pick 'em. I just division games, man. Division games. Like, I had to give the Broncos their stripes early in the season. I dogged them by probably the first 7-8 weeks. I'm like, dude, stop. Like, they're not a bad team. They're doing a lot with barely anything on offense. Bo Nix, he definitely is a guy who deserves some respect. But with the Chargers, I think they lost 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. I'm like, they're scratching and clawing to get a playoff spot. It's not going to be easy for anybody to get a 6 seed or a 7 seed right now when it comes to the NFC or the AFC. And my roommate, he's a Chargers fan. He mentions a lot. Well, just remember, it's just a rebuild. It's just a rebuild. He says that to himself to not get too mad when they lose. Or if they lose. So I'm like, sometimes you don't have to be a rebuild, man. Like, what if you got the guys that get the job done? You got the guys that get the job done. You look at the Bengals when Joe Burrow made it to a Super Bowl. I don't think everybody said yep, week 1, Bengals Super Bowl champions. Like, nobody said that at all. Not a person. But look what ended up happening. So, I picked the Chargers to win. I just kind of went my gut feeling. I'm like, I think it's going to be a gritty game, a division game. When it's all said and done, the Chargers have been there, done that. I think Herbert will outperform Bo Nix. Not really sure if he did or not. I haven't really looked at the box score stats. But all in all, I'm just like, it just seems like at the end of the day, it's Chargers world when it comes to this matchup. I think that they have more poise. I think that they are better coached right now, and I think that defense is going to have a good day against the Broncos offense. At the end of the day, I think that the better team did win. I like the Broncos. I gave them their stripes, like I said, but I think that the Chargers, even though they're young, receiver Lavin Conkey, they got Josh Palmer at number 2, I guess you can call who that. I don't even know, bro. Their receiving core is weird. You got QJ, you got Joshua Palmer. Who knows who's 1, who's 2? You got
Lad.
Their best. He is their best receiver, but what is he? Is he a true X? Is he a Y? Or is he a Z? Is he a slot? Who knows? They don't know what they're doing when it comes to receiving core in that offense. But at the end of the day, we can't ignore the fact they have a really good quarterback who has already proven himself on that offense in a defense that has showed signs of being gritty. So pick the Chargers to win. I'm not surprised, and I think that it's going to be a grinder these last 2 weeks for that 6-7 spot in AFC.
Now joining us on episode number 129 of Stats Over Politics, none other than the Podfather, Jaevon Toddy. Welcome to the show.
You better be smiling. Guy. Why is he smiling?
He's smiling from ear to ear.
Have a good weekend too, Cass. How are you, sir?
Let me get some of that money, bruh. I heard about you.
Oh man.
Yeah.
The fans listen. Nigga, what money?
Toddy's stupid.
Oh man.
Oh man. I don't know if Shaun could probably put up the
Man, we not talking about your parlay.
You gotta give me a moment.
Kevin wants some money too. What you mean?
Hey, I told him, I was like, hey, I said, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't put the blame on you.
Hey, Toddy, I got one for you first. Before we show you some love, we also gotta show something else. Look at that donation though.
Oh,
Tennessee
pretty good.
You gotta.
Tennessee plus 230. Okay, I got you. That's another.
He froze, so I don't know if we're gonna have him.
Oh, okay.
So we just keep rolling.
All right, sounds good. Well, I'll try to get it booted up to talk about it later. But Kevin, this next game that we got for you is another good one. This one wasn't in division play though, as the Chiefs beat the Texans 27-19 on Saturday afternoon football.
I feel so bad for Tank Dell. He all season he had a really good rookie year. He got hurt, unfortunately. And all offseason, you think that him and Nico are going to be able to build off what they did last year, including CJ Stroud. Then they bring in Stephon Diggs. Changes the whole outlook of this offense. So now he's the number 2 option that's now demoted to number 3. You're playing behind 2 Pro Bowl guys. It is what it is. You're the young guy. But when he was out there on that field, he was dominating. He led them in receiving with 6 receptions for 98 yards and a touchdown. And that's playing alongside Dalton Schultz, who had a good game, and a Nico Collins, who had a good game. But I think the biggest thing with the Texans, man, is it comes down to CJ Stroud. We sang his praises last year. Cole Rich Bernard, but we called him top 5 quarterback, top 8 quarterback. And this year, it's called a sophomore slump for a reason. For him to have those 2 really bad turnovers really kill him. And with all that said, they still had a shot. But at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. They said he had a high ankle sprain. He's supposed to be out 2-3 weeks, and he's out here running for 15-yard touchdowns. They are going to do what they're going to do. And Shaun's guy, Xavier Worthy, showed why he was a first-round draft pick today for 7 receptions, 65 yards and a touchdown. And then Kareem Hunt out of nowhere. Everyone thought it was going to be the Pacheco show now. Kareem Hunt on my bench in the playoffs does mean nothing. So hats off to the Chiefs. They escaped once again.
And speaking of fantasy as well, I took 5th place in the Stats Over Politics Fantasy Football League with a 166.7 to 132.34 victory against the man that is to my left on the screen, Kevin Dent. So, Kevin, would you say that I officially won the trade that we made?
I was going to say, so we went 1-1. So does that mean that it was just a really good trade both ways?
I guess so. But,
and it's crazy because before the day you traded me Mixon was the day he had
nuts.
like 4 or 5 touchdowns. I'm like,
Shaun, and he hasn't done shit since.
And it's like, and if you think about it, bro, the only ones who really did good from that trade for me was T. Higgins, and then you had H-Hand go nuts. But besides that,
Yeah.
the rest of the guys were kind of mid.
Well, I mean, Jameson.
Oh,
Jameson
I'm sorry. I
Williams-
keep forgetting I gave you Keenan Allen, who had a fucking crazy-ass game.
Well, Jameson Williams. I already. You actually told me I tried to give you Keenan Allen, and you said,
Oh, yeah, that's
Keenan
what
Allen.
happened. That's what happened. But you didn't
I
play
got
Jameson
Jameson
Williams.
Williams.
Or did you
No, I
start him?
did.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
I
didn't know
did.
if you started. I didn't see you start him.
I literally, I was gonna start. I was gonna start Xavier Worthy, but then I was like, nah, I'm gonna start Williams just because I'm playing Kev. I was like, I
ain't
want
nothing to play
all
for at
three of
this
the
point,
guys.
all three of them.
Exactly. I was just like, all right, I want all three of the guys that he traded to me to be going against him. Anyways, as Jaevon, perfect timing, loads back up here on the screen. Toddy, if you could stick with us through your technical difficulties for just 60 seconds, the Dolphins beat the 49ers 29-17.
Oh boy. We're favored in this. No, I don't know. Yes, we were. We were favored in this game. I don't know why.
Slight.
There was just no juice. We haven't had juice. I can't even remember when. I don't even think we beat a team with a winning record. Tua looked all right. The defense just looked offense didn't look like. Pearsall had 4 or 5 catches in this game. He lined up off sides twice on the same drive.
Is that when he got chewed out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering what the fuck
Formation. It would have like Debo got and then it instead of us going down, I think we were down like 6, we would have been down like 2. So that kind of like he was pissed about that. Our receivers coach chewed him out about it. I don't even think he went into the game after that. It was, I mean, the good things happen when we throw George Kittle the ball in the first half, and then we just stopped throwing him the ball. Jalen Moore got hurt, and we had to play Brunskill at left tackle. He never played a down at left tackle in his college, any time in his career at all. So we need to focus on the draft, like tackle or guard. We just need to just draft everything in O-line. And D-line, O-line is kind of where we need to go in the draft because I feel like everywhere else we're pretty solidified. Like CMC comes back next year. I feel like our receiving unit is solid. We just need our O-line needs to be better because it's not good at all. But Purdy's out here buying Toyotas for everybody. Here guys go.
So I heard that was not a brand deal, but they sponsor him. So it's not like he paid out of pocket for all that. That's what I was like. Oh,
yeah,
so
because he's sponsored by Toyota. He's sponsored by Toyota, so like he probably pulls the street like, hey, like let's try and get my own. I wouldn't have given him shit.
That's how you know you're getting 62 mil.
So I mean, I don't know, man. Like it kind of just we're not good.
Maybe draft a quarterback, a receiver.
It's not even that we need a receiver. Like it's redundant at this point. Like I feel like our receivers are fine, but Debo's not number one guy. Ayuk is the guy that we paid $30 million. The guy that we paid $30 million is not there. Rookie wide receiver Pearsall. It's a lot to ask for him, but hey, I feel like our coach is fine. It's just a lot to kind of overcome. Like we don't have a running back. Juszczyk is back there. Fullbacking. Patrick Taylor.
Fullbacking.
Patrick Taylor's back there. Like, have any of you guys heard of Patrick Taylor?
I started him, by the way. I picked him up quick.
I started him too, and I looked like a fool.
You had to start him because you thought he's Isaac
guys.
Garindo. People had no idea what Isaac Garindo was.
I still won my league. I still won my semis. I got to the championship, but I was like, damn, I could have started Smitty or Terry McLaurin. I'm like, nope, he got it.
Yeah. So I mean, as the team as a whole, we're not good. People are gonna come out and say, "Oh, where are all the Niner fans at? We're getting our fucking shit pushed in every week." Like, what do you want me to say? Like, it's bad. It's not. We're not having a good year. It happens.
We're not having a good time.
We're having the best year. When we're back up, you'll hear from me. Right now, we're not good. I'll come out and say we're not good. You guys can watch the film, see the tape. We're not good.
We've seen the best of you guys for a long time.
Yeah.
And last year it was. You'll be my age next time we do this podcast. I'm still alive.
The window was last year. We were up in overtime against Patrick Mahomes. That was our window.
If only you knew the rules.
I mean, that's a whole nother story for another day. That's just a whole nother podcast right there. I mean,
this
we were
beard
up
will be
on
great.
Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl in overtime. That was our chance right there. And now
this beard will be gray next time you guys are relevant. You guys had your shot. Gray. Kevin might be there too. He ain't too far off.
I mean, I don't know. The Dolphins, the Dolphins aren't good. They're a below 500 team. I guess they're good enough to beat the Niners, though, right? Rams, Cardinals. Oh, hey, by the way, we got to play Detroit next week. Monday Night Football.
Hey, brother, go make some noise. Why not us?
Y'all gonna win. Yeah, y'all gonna win. Y'all
Hell
win.
yeah, y'all
win. Y'all, you guys are winning that game. Clip it.
I don't know why they keep putting up. I don't know why they keep putting us on primetime games to get our fucking teeth kicked in, week in and week out. Hey, let's put the Niners on Sunday Night Football in the snow. Josh Allen's running, catching, throwing, touchdown passes.
Yeah.
Week before that, we'll play the Packers. Got our shit pushed in. Let's have them go up against the Lions, who just slapped the shit out of the Chicago Bears on the road in the cold. But you know what, guys? We'll make it even. We'll make it better for you. We'll have this game at home. Niners are 1-something at home this year. It's it's bad. But I mean, yeah, that's the recap for the game yesterday. that's the recap.
Yeah, to me, it looked like Deebo Samuel was back. And I don't know why I cared so much, but I wanted the 49ers to win that game. Logistically, it wouldn't make sense for the 49ers to win that game because they should be tanking at this point. But there was just something deep down in my heart that just wanted to see them win a game. I wanted to get that feeling again, and it was like, nope, can't do it. Interception, game over. So, yeah, life as a 49ers fan in 2024. What'd you say?
Is Purdy getting 60?
Of course.
God.
You have to. This is the discussion that we've had constantly where it's like if you don't have an upgrade, then you have to do it. Because otherwise you're going to be hitting the reset button. And so I mean, it's decision time. That's for sure. And Kaz, if you could keep us going here with our Week 16 NFL recap, the Rams beat the Jets 19-9 in what was a rock fight.
I mean, you have a team that's terrible, and you have a team that's fighting and hoping and praying for a playoff spot because they are in the most competitive division in football right now. And that is the Los Angeles Rams. I picked them to win. The Jets suck. We all know that. Really just not much to say about the game, man, to be honest. It's just like the Rams, it seems like they're just constantly in this position where it's like, hey, you guys can win this division, right? Do it. Like Seattle, yes, they look nice. Arizona, they're good, but they're not playoff good. They're knocking on the door, but it's like, come on, they're not playoff good. They're not ready yet. They will be probably next year. Seattle went on that 3 or 4 game losing streak in their early middle of the season, right? LA, look at your fucking offense, bro. Yeah, you lost Puka for a while, but you guys won a couple games without him. Figured some things out, got him back, and he went crazy the second got him back. Win. Keep winning. Still the division. And they might do it. I'm not sure. I think it's between them and Seattle still because Seattle just lost. They won. Now I know it's real close. Real close. And then Arizona just lost. So therefore, now it's going to be a dogfight these next 2 weeks. We might see LA win this division. We do. We might. LA might be hosting at SoFi, which everybody knows is not a home game for them because the opposing team usually takes over that stadium. But LA might be hosting a playoff game, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see. They're just a much better team than the Jets. Obviously better coach. Offense absolutely shits on them. And the Jets are they're a firestorm. You got Aaron Rodgers on podcasts talking too much, saying some crazy ass things like, I'm not going to talk to you unless I know your vaccination status. And once you tell me that, I can decide whether or not to take your word seriously. They're a laughing stock. Garrett Wilson literally wants out of there. He's making it very clear.
Hey, he ain't say it all. He ain't come out and say I want out. He's like, do you want to be with
let me tell you something.
He said,
let me tell you something. I ain't going to be that guy. I know my people. I know what that face means. I know.
Man.
Hey, if I see somebody that look like me doing this shit here,
I'm only here so I don't get fined.
I know what that means. So Garrett wants out. It's just a firestorm there.
They asked him, do you want to be a part of the team? He said, I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, just an unexpected win. I thought it was gonna be tough. It was a scary game to pick when it comes to the pick 'em, but I'm like, Kaz, stop overthinking it. The Rams are better. The better team won.
And Kevin, speaking of another New York team scoring single-digit points, the Falcons beat the Giants 34-7.
Dude, I played against the fucking Falcons defense.
Oh my God.
They finished with 29 points.
That doesn't make any sense.
Drew Lock, bro, is just bad at football. And I know as frustrating as it made me, I can only imagine Malik Neighbors having to sit there and just
angry. He's got 92 catches.
Broke the record, over Odell. So, but it's like, fuck, dude. Like, you can't do nothing. They can't get anything going because Drew Lock tried to throw the ball the other way. I feel bad for the Giants. It was really nice to see Michael Penix. I know on the draft reaction show, we talked about why they did this and why they picked him and what kind of this looks like for Kirk Cousins. But I think it's time. They made the decision at the perfect time. Playing the Giants is basically a free win, so why not let him go out there? You had the opportunity to have him go out there, and if he played bad, you go back to Kirk. But you gave him a chance against a defense that wasn't very good. And the score reflected that. Bijan is showing that he's one of the best young running backs in the game. I think in a couple of years, we'll be talking about him and Jahmyr Gibbs being the best running backs in the NFL.
Wow. Jaevon, in what was a bit of a shocker, the Panthers beat the Cardinals 36-30 in overtime.
Bryce Young's hooping, man. He's been playing better this little second half, little rejoicement that he's gotten. I think he's kind of taking it by storm. I think he's going to need a lot more help on the perimeter in the draft. Get him some receivers, some guys that can get open. I get it. Adam Thielen. God bless him. He's not a number one receiver. He's in Carolina. Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard's actually been balling. I'll give him that. Chuba's been hooping. But God, he's got Deontay Johnson wanted no parts to be there. That was supposed to be the guy supposed to come and save him. He was like, I'm out of here. And you know what? They got David Moore, Adam Thielen. Like, he's out here winning games with these guys. Like, God bless him. He needs help. Needs an O-line. I feel like Canales has been, scheming up with
doing this thing
for him. So shit. What happens when you get a couple receivers around him? Run game with Chuba Hubbard. I feel like the defense has been playing with some gumption. Now that they know the offense can go out there and make some plays for him. So Cardinals were a flash in the pan. Hey, man, they had their 60 seconds of fame. Like, we're going to win the division. Kyler K1. Kyler out there eating pizza in New York. Dude don't even know who he is.
That's why.
I like Kyler. I fuck with Kyler. I liked him in college, but he's a division foe. Flash in the pan. That's all I'm going to say about the Cardinals,
Free Marvin.
Is it free Marvin or is Marvin can't get open? I don't know what it is.
Kev
was saying, who else are they going to throw? Who are they going to throw the ball to?
Shit, they don't throw to McBride either. He be open.
Where's Marvin? That's all I'm going to say.
Free Marvin.
I would like to revisit the Marvin versus Malik Neighbors debate that we had.
We told you he was going to have a lot more catches and a whole lot of more yards. They ain't got no one else to throw to. Trey McBride's a top 3 tight end.
We might all just missed out that Brian Thomas Jr. is actually really good too. He's got 1,000 yards. So
same example as New York.
Kaz, the Bengals beat the Browns 24-6 in the Battle of Ohio.
Dude, there was like a million turnovers that game. No, yeah.
Mhm.
Right? That was that game, right? Yeah. A million turnovers. Sorry, I wasn't ready for that one. I ain't gonna hold you. But a million turnovers, and Joe Burrow was not happy. That was last week. Was it this week or last week? Who did they play last week?
They played
The
the Titans.
Hold up. Let me just check real quick.
I think they played Titans last week.
Titans is when there's a million turnovers. This game, I think, was.
Oh yeah,
Just
last
no
week they had
kidding.
like 6 turnovers or something. Like
Yeah, it was. Joe Burrow was pissed. He was like, "Yo, what are we doing?" And if I'm wrong on that, I don't care because these are two teams that just aren't gonna make the playoffs. And I ain't gonna lie to you, that game I watched, I kind of bounced in and out. But I mean, who's Tennessee? The Bengals are like the Cowboys. It's like, you may not be a great team, but you can do a really good job of whooping up on bad teams. So, I think that what's his name? Oh, I know for a fact. Tajay Spears had a really good game. He for sure had I saw a really good touchdown run from him.
They play the Browns though.
Yeah. Oh, okay. My bad.
Last week.
You started thinking about the Bengals and Titans game, but Tajay Spears did have himself a game.
He did. My bad. Wrong game. My bad.
It's all
My
good.
bad. Okay. Anyway, Browns. They didn't have Shaun, or not Shaun Watson. Didn't have what's his name? James Winston back there. Okay.
DTR.
And I was talking to one of my homegirls who does fantasy football. She's like, "Do I play Jerry Jeudy?" Or I'm like, "Bro, let me tell you something. You're in the playoffs right now. That is a high risk, high reward situation. By any means necessary, if you can sit him, please just do it." She's like, "Well, look at these last couple games. He's went off this now." I'm like, Jameis Winston throws 50. He throws 50 times a game, bro. Do what you will with the information. But if it was me, hell no. When I found out, obviously, he wasn't playing, of course. I was like, bro, there's no shot that they beat the Bengals. And plus, I got Jamar Chase in my fantasy football lineup. I'm like, yeah, let me get my quick tutty, 70 to 100 yards, some around there.
Easy money.
Win. Yeah, easy money. So just Bengals, they had a more superior team. Like I said, I'm sorry, I didn't watch most of that game. I glanced in and out. It's one of those matchups where it's like it's the end of the season and you see who's playing who, and it's like you just kind of know what's going to happen. I would mention a couple other games. We're not at those games yet. I know someone else is going to get that recap, but you're going to see the next 2 weeks a lot of games like that where it's like, well, what do you expect? Teams are tanking now. I mean, they don't want to win. They don't need to win. Right now, they're put in a really weird situation where the Bengals are kind of a middle of the pack type team who should be a playoff team, but went on that stupid streak early on in the season where they lost so many games they couldn't make a comeback, and then now here they sit, all the potential in the world and nothing to show for it because it's too late. Because this year, the AFC and NFC is just so damn competitive. So yeah, Bengals. I mean, good job beating a team that you would beat 19 out of 20 times any given season.
Kaz, I don't think anyone blames you for not watching that game in depth. I only watched what clips they showed of it on Red Zone, and that's it for my knowledge of the game. But you nailed it when speaking about last week's Bengals game when the Bengals beat the Titans and Joe Burrow just said, "We fucking suck." That's what it is for the Bengals this year, unfortunately. And speaking of the Titans, they lost 38-30, Kevin, against the Colts, but the Titans put up a valiant fight. And I will just say one thing real quickly before we get your thoughts on this, Kevin, is that Kaz read my mind because Tajay Spears was 100% of my interest in this game because I started Tajay Spears in my fantasy football league that's like a big money league, and I was so nervous to start Tajay Spears. I was like, what am I doing? But I read Matthew Berry's column, Matthew Berry, who used to be at ESPN, now he's at NBC, and he mentioned Tajay Spears in it, and he said that the Colts give up a lot of rushing touchdowns, and I was like, all right, I'm going to start him. And then for the first 3 quarters, he had 0.4 points, and I was so pissed. And he ended up finishing with 21.9. So shout out to Matthew Berry. Kevin, what did you think of the Colts beating the Titans 38-30?
This game was hard to watch, man. Hard to watch. I was playing against Jonathan Taylor.
Oh,
After the first touchdown, and I saw the yards, I said, I got to turn this game on. He got to hit 200 yards, and then I did. And then he scored again and again. And I told Alyssa, I was like, Jonathan Taylor's going to score a lot. After what he did last week, dropping the ball over the end zone and losing that team the game, essentially, I said Jonathan Taylor's going to go fucking nuts. 218, 29 carries. Goddamn. If you're running back and run for 218 and 3 touchdowns, yeah, Anthony Richardson, you're throwing the ball 11 times. Hand this ball off, read option, and let's do what we do. Mason Rudolph, I think this is the same kind of situation with the Browns. With your other quarterback, you weren't doing good either. So going to the worser quarterback isn't going to help. I love DeMarcus or the Thompson Robinson kid. I love him. I love him at UCLA. He's just not an NFL quarterback. And is he an NFL quarterback, or is the Brown system that shit? Who knows? But Will Levis doesn't play. Mason Rudolph goes in there and throws 3 picks. It was hard to watch, but for somehow, some way, that Tennessee Titans team will not give up, and they find a way to get close in every game.
Toddy, your Bears, they fought hard, but they lost to the Lions 34-17.
Top 15 quarterback.
Hey man, we got to stick with it. We got to roll with the punches. It's he shows flashes. Caleb does. He had a nice.
You gonna punch back?
He had a nice throw to Keenan Allen down the sideline. This game was at home, and it just gets so bad when the other team is pretending to fall down on the ground, fake stumble, and proceeds to throw a touchdown pass to the tight end. They were just doing whatever they wanted to do. It wasn't close, and they kind of came out the gate firing on all cylinders. So Jahmyr Gibbs, he had like 20 plus carries in this game for $120, and he had a touchdown. He did the Saw Baby dance. I don't know if y'all.
That shit was crazy. I didn't notice at first. I was like,
he scored before, and he did the dance, but they called him back, said he was down, and so he scored again, did the exact same dance. So that was really cool. Yeah, the Lions are the best team in the NFL league, aren't they? The NFC for sure. They're gonna get the number 1 seed. I think it's gonna come down to them or maybe the Vikings.
Whole like Minnesota. Week 18 in Minnesota.
That game's gonna be for all the marbles, I guess. Yeah. Do we start mentioning Jared Goff MVP?
No.
He's in the conversation.
No, he's not.
They're number 1 seed. Why not?
So,
No, okay, just
so
because
is Patrick Mahomes. No one's saying Patrick Mahomes is gonna be MVP.
just because Dylan Gabriel got to New
Another
York
great example.
with the number one team doesn't.
You're just
mean
the best.
he
You're
has
just
to
the
have-
quarterback on the best team.
I thought I'd ask the question.
Hey, it's worth asking. So this next game, if you could get to this one, Kaz, the Bills beat the Patriots 24-21.
Sheesh.
Yeah, it was. I'm not sure what the spread was exactly, but it was a division game. Again, obviously, these are like a lot of games right now.
I got you. The spread.
Please tell me.
The Bills were favored by 14.5.
Yeah, I would never take that in my life. My life, never.
I wouldn't have.
So what did you say, Juan?
I wouldn't have taken it either. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, never in my life. I knew the spread was something stupid. I'm like, bro, the Patriots are going to cover this. Why? Because it's a division game. Like, we're all veterans when it comes to the game nowadays. We've seen this happen every year. It's never going to stop. You're going to see shitty ass teams in any given division go against the best team in the league and hold them to a 6-4, 5-point game. It's just the way that it is. But I mean, come on, the Bills are scraping for a 1 seed spot, right? The Chiefs, they didn't clinch the 1 seed, so it's a must win for the Bills. The Bills did what the Eagles were supposed to do, except for the fact that the Bills were playing against a legitimate, far inferior team. The Commanders, when it comes to the Eagles, they're inferior, but it's not like, oh, you guys are nobody and we're fucking everything. Absolutely not. No, the Commanders have proven all season long they're true contenders. They're not as good as the Eagles, no, but they're contenders. You got to give credit where credit's due. the Patriots versus the Buffalo Bills, absolutely not. That there was no chance they lose this game, especially at this point in the season. So just one of those games where it was expected. I did see that James Cook had a really solid game for once. He's been kind of stale the latter end of the season.
Josh Allen running all the touchdowns in.
Yeah,
Right.
but I don't really understand like why. Like I'd be reading tweets and there's a lot of James Cook hate, like, oh, this guy sucks. It's now I'm like, bro, like what the hell? I don't think he sucks at all. I just think that when he got hurt and that Ray Davis guy got an opportunity to kind of go in and show his stuff, and they have another backup too that played a little bit as well. I can't remember what his name was, but like then all of a sudden after that he came back and now all of a sudden, oh, James Cook's just a guy. James Cook's just a guy, bro. That's their starting running back. He's a good running back. May not be the greatest. He's no Saquon or Derrick Henry or Josh Jacobs, no, but dude, there are plenty of teams that would love to have a James Cook on their team. He can catch out of the backfield. He's not bad when he has, room in the pocket. Solid running back. So yeah, I mean, Bills won. They should have won. And all I'll say about that game is Vegas, they were handing out free money when it came to that spread. You take Patriots to cover that spread. I hope you guys did. And if you didn't, well, you probably parlayed it and lost, but at least you tried.
Effort is what matters. And Kevin, you were just saying it's cold like Minnesota. Well, the Vikings, they went to Seattle and they beat the Seahawks 27-24.
So I don't know if you guys saw this, but Wes was there.
I saw that.
Of course, he was at the game.
This is exactly why I tossed this game to you.
Yeah, he was pumped. He was like, dude, this is going to be the game. And unfortunately, Gino will be Gino. And he'll just give the game away. The Seahawks, man, I have been screaming their praises since we did our NFC West preview show. I thought they were going to come in here. They got the cornerback duo. They have a new voice in there with the new coach. Pete Carroll's now out, and Gino gets to double down on the year that he had last year. But it's just so hard, man, because Gino is starting to get the Jameis Winston comparisons. Like, he'll throw for 300 yards. He'll throw 3 touchdowns, but he's throwing 2 picks. One might be a 6. And the fact that the Minnesota Vikings practice a celebration every week goes to show that they're like, yeah, they're going to give it to us one way or another. Justin Jefferson, I have been one guy who has been saying Jamar Chase is now the best player or best receiver in the NFL. Justin Jefferson is knocking on that door saying, I'm still here. 10 catches, 144 yards, 2 touchdowns. He is making Sam Darnold look like a $60 million man.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
That's what the going rate is.
He'll get 30.
Shit, Daniel Jones got 40. They give him 30, he's going to the CFL for 100.
We saw how well that went for Daniel Jones, or how well it went for the Giants. It went quite well for Daniel Jones.
I mean, he gets to see him every day in the office. He's telling them, like, hey, man, they lowball you. Fuck them. We're going for the top. We're going to trade you anyways. Fuck them.
Well, Jaevon, I'm sorry to give you this stinker, but someone's going to talk about it. The Raiders beat the Jaguars 19-14 to snap their 10-game losing streak.
Brian Thomas Jr. is really good. I don't know how he went 23rd or what was it, like 19th? He was like in his 20s, I think. I wanted the Niners to get him. I remember when we were talking about the draft, and I was like, Niners are going to get Brian Thomas Jr., Adonai Mitchell, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, those are the guys we're going to get. And then the Jags drafted him, and I was livid. I was like, we're cooked. I think I wanted like Kool-Aid McKinstry or something like that. He's on the Saints. He's been getting cooked lately. So, Brock Bowers. He's it really don't matter who throwing him the ball. He's going
best tight end in football.
He's going to do whatever he wants to do. I would say Shador's coming, but maybe that ship has sailed. Does AP get fired? Does Antonio Pierce get fired?
No, because if he gets fired, that means Max Crosby's walking out with him.
Yeah.
Max Crosby single-handedly is maintaining his job.
I think he needs a year with a quarterback. I feel like it's kind of unfair. He had Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Now, a part of that might be on him Like, let's just
It's
kind of.
definitely on him, bro. He doesn't want to tank. He wants to win every game, and that's what you want as a coach.
But I don't. You could have did somebody else other than these two guys. Like, let's roll these guys out there and hope for the best. Like, that's a problem. McCorkle Jones is not good at football. He's not. The COVID year, Devontae Smith, that was like the one good year that he had. He had a bunch of all-stars around. Judy. What do you have? He had Judy.
Henry Ruggs, Judy.
Yeah, that team.
Oh man, what a blast from the past, Henry Ruggs.
Yeah, that team had a bunch of serious hitters on that team. But I mean, he had a Pro Bowl year. What's the playoffs? Flash in the pan.
Pro Bowl seemed to be nearly me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just those. It was a bad game. Both these guys didn't pick in the top 5. So
yeah, Pro Bowls, they seem to be like losing value as the years go on.
Especially now it's flag football.
Yeah, it's the Pro Bowl games.
Well, and also like not only are you always having to replace the Super Bowl teams, which tend to have a lot of talent, but there's plenty of guys who just don't want to participate anymore. So they got to replace them. And so then you end up having a whole other third of players that shouldn't have gotten selected that have a Pro Bowl to their name. Like even Jared Goff, before he got to the Lions, when he was on the Rams, he had multiple Pro Bowls. And so it's like,
great example.
Yeah, it's like
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm a Jared Goff stan, not because I actually like him. I never understood the slander. Ridiculous. The dude's been to the Super Bowl. The guy, his rookie year, was going up against guys like Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz, who was playing lights out 2016. And everybody just forgot because of a couple bad seasons in LA.
Jeff Fisher.
Like, is it him? That's not good. I'm not trying to go on the rabbit hole. I'm sorry, but it just makes me so mad hearing like any like Jared Goff slander. I'm like, in what world was Jared Goff ever a bad quarterback? Look at his stats and look at who he played with. What?
I still love playing against Jared Goff.
I bet you did. Not no more.
You used to love playing against those Rams.
Yeah.
That's what you used to love. You didn't like playing against the motherfuckers when it was loaded.
Or now.
Loved it.
Yeah, you didn't really like the motherfuckers, bro.
The one thing about Jared Goff that I'll say is that I remember the 49ers were absolute dog shit in that 2015 season. And I was like, hey, they got a shot to get number 1. And I was like, hey, how about we just keep the guy from Cal in the Bay Area and the Niners get him number 1 overall. Niners ended up picking 7th that year. They got DeForest Buckner, who ended up being a phenomenal player in his own right. But I wanted the 49ers to draft Jared Goff first overall in 2016. And as much shit as I may talk about him, that was something that I will remember forever. And Kaz, if you could close us out with your last game, and then Kevin has the last game of the week. The Cowboys held on for a 26-24 win on Sunday Night Football against the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I think Kevin said it before we started streaming, but I kind of look like a genius picking the Cowboys to win that game. Look, man, I fuck with the Bucs not because I like them, but because I like to look at a team like that and see them, not supposed to be good and do what they've been doing. And in this season, they've been doing a lot without they've been facing a lot of adversity. No Mike Evans for a little while, no Godwin the entire season for the most part when he went out, and Baker Mayfield putting the team on his back literally to win the games that he's won. But you're on the road in Dallas. It's been a long season. Dallas, I mean, they've been, getting some guys back. They've been up and up a little bit here and there. They're not going to make the playoffs. No, like they're eliminated after this week, of course. But like they're a pass to a good solid win at home against a solid team. Like I said before, it's the NFL. These things happen. That's why I'm not too mad about the Commanders' loss. It's like, dude, every team in the league every year that is great loses to bad teams. The Buccaneers are fighting for that division spot. Right now, I believe the fate is in Atlanta's hands. It's going to come down to the wire because of that loss. But that's not a bad loss for Tampa Bay. Dallas notoriously is a hard place to play. I know they have Cooper Rush under center. They're not a great team right now, but it's still a hard place to play. It's not a place you just go like, yep, we're going to whoop these motherfuckers in Dallas. That's never been a thing. This season's been the only time it's been that. Every other year, it's not like that at all. They always win at home. So I was like, yeah, Dallas is past due. It's going to take Baker Mayfield playing a lot of hero ball for them to come out there and win. And, I mean, I pretty much called it how it was. They went out there, they played a tough game, and Dallas – they handled business. You still got CeeDee Lamb over there. You got Rico Dowdle, who is proven to be a pretty solid running back. Who else? Jacob Ferguson, and their defense has guys on defense that can make plays. They still have some stuff on that defense. Their team just sucks. Like, we can't pretend like some of the guys on that defense, like they're not guys who just 365 days ago was causing a lot of problems in the league. 1 year older, they're fine. But it's just too late for them to make a surge back to make any real difference to do anything, especially with them being eliminated. So the Cowboys are just past due. That's my take on it.
Sorry for the pause there. And Kevin, if you could close us out with the game that we just saw, the Packers earned the first shutout of the 2024 NFL season by defeating the Saints 34-0 on Monday Night Football.
Dog, the Saints are bad. Bad. The cap is bad. Spencer Rattler is bad. It's just one thing after another. I know Toddy went into the waiver, picked up Clyde Edwards-Helaire because he was in shambles, and I don't even know if he played. But
Did not play.
the Packers were able to put their foot on the gas early and then take it off late. Jordan Love, 16 of 28, 118 for one touchdown. I would say the highlight of this game was Jalen Reed because Alyssa had him in fantasy. She was losing, and he caught those 3 passes late, and now she's going to the championship. So hats off to her. The Packers are going to do their thing. They have a chance to be a very good team in the playoffs, and I'm looking forward to seeing them.
The NFC North is very, very, very interesting.
What's the Saints record?
5-10.
Okay. Do they need a quarterback?
I think so.
They're paying Derek
Probably
Carr.
long term.
They are
It'll
next
be
year.
interesting.
Arch.
Ooh, that'd be
perfect.
kind of cool. That would be kind of cool, to be honest, to see Archie go from like playing for the Saints in the 70s and 80s when the fans were putting the bags on their heads to potentially having
We're
Archie.
about to go back to
lead.
doing that.
Well, maybe next year while they're and then on the bag it's going to say "take for Arch," or they're going to come up with some type of bag slang like to take for Arch.
And Will Howard's going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. Don't sleep.
So that is going to do it for our episode 129, Week 16 NFL recap. Now, while we're all here, if I could sneak this in real quickly, it's time for Shaun's pop quiz, and then we're going to get to this or that. And then we're going to close things out with our first round college football playoff recap. And so we've got 2 quick questions for you guys, and there's 2 answers to the question. Free for all. And so I'll start things off with Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley has 4 rushing.
You're going in and out of your mic.
Your mic.
Oh,
The music's.
I have the music really well, but you know what? Okay, can you guys hear me well? Can you hear me all right? All right.
Yes, sir.
Sorry about that. So Saquon Barkley, he has 4 rushing touchdowns of at least 60 yards this season. If you guys were watching the broadcast, which I know all of us were, then you saw this stat pop up on the screen. I took a quick photo of it. So Saquon Barkley has 4 rushing touchdowns of at least 60 yards this season, tied for the most in NFL history. There are 2 other players who have done that. Who are those players?
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Nope, that is incorrect. This is a free.
What was the question?
Is it only running backs?
Wait, what was the question?
So Saquon Barkley has 4 rushing touchdowns of at least 60 yards this season, which is tied for the most in NFL history. There are 2 other players who have done that.
Adrian Peterson's
that he's
one.
tied with.
Adrian Peterson is
Ding,
one.
ding, ding. Kaz gets a point.
Damn.
Derrick Henry?
Is the other guy active?
Cass is on the board. No, the other guy is not active, and no, the other guy is not Derek.
Chris Johnson.
Oh no, Daniel
Nope.
Thompson.
Nope, that is incorrect.
Well, Sean McCoy?
Wait, no, I know this. Give me a second.
Okay.
Old school?
It's old school. It's
Eric
Nick Smith.
No, it ain't Eric Dickerson.
I haven't heard it yet.
No, it's. I don't want
So,
to say.
yes.
Adrian-
Barry Sanders?
No, not Barry Sanders. It's
Yes. We'll see. Because Toddy don't know.
So Saquon Barkley.
God, it's a early 2000s running back. Man, it's not Jamal Charles.
Edgerrin
It
James.
is- No. Damn it, you're gonna say it. I'm gonna know it right away, bro. I know this one.
NFC,
I know
AFC. What is he known for? What division?
AFC.
AFC.
Jamal Lewis?
If I can think of the teams right now, if I can see the teams like
Did someone say Chris
Not
Johnson
fired?
already?
I'll say Chris.
Yes,
It's not Chris
yes.
Johnson.
Someone has said that, and
What
I
division?
will just
No.
yeah.
John, give me
Okay,
30 seconds. 30
fine,
seconds. 30
Hey,
seconds. 30
hey,
seconds. I'm not looking up. I'm not.
I'm
not-
typing away. He's
No,
doing some research.
no, I'm looking. No,
Compare
I'm
the
looking. I
click.
need to see the team. No, I need to see just AFC teams. If I see the team, I'll get it. AFC teams. That's all. I'm not looking at no.
Arian
no,
Foster.
No.
No, okay. So I'll just let you guys know this dude's old,
Okay.
Oh.
way back.
Walter
I give
Payton.
But
I give up.
no, but Toddy, you are in the
Barry
range
Sanders?
right now. No,
I give up.
Barry Sanders was said.
I give up.
Oh, wait, hold on. No.
I
No,
know
it's
some weird like.
Toddy's cheap.
I know some weird like Corey Dillon or some weird guy like that.
Who's considered arguably the greatest running back of all time?
It's Emmitt
Jim
Smith.
Brown.
Toddy got it. Ding, ding, ding.
Let's go.
Wow.
Jim Brown and Adrian Peterson both have had 4 rushing touchdowns of at least 60 yards in a season, which Saquon Barkley has now tied himself
We
with.
know ball.
So Toddy gets a point. Kaz gets a point. So that's 15 for Toddy, 12 for Kevin, and
Yes, I
1 for
didn't know.
Kaz. And so now the other question that I got for you guys this week with
What
Shaun's
is this
pop
point
quiz-
system?
Well, I don't think you have been present for when we've done these.
I said
like last
we
week.
This is,
start
like, this is okay. This is like accumulated. I'm like, wait a minute. I got 1 point. He got 15 from it. I was like, what am I playing for? I get 1 point everywhere. I should get
This
15.
was like each question worth 5 points.
Well, yeah, especially because like Kaz, you answered Adrian Peterson like right away. So
Oh,
if anything,
man.
that would have been the most points. But yeah, this is like last week on Sean's pop quiz, we had 1 question with 9 answers, and so that was 9
Okay.
points right there.
All right, my bad. I'm
and-
interrupting. Go ahead, brother.
No, you're good. And so the other question is that Michael Penix and Tua Tagovailoa, they both started in Week 16, making the first time that 2 left-handed quarterbacks started in the same week since 2012 when these 2 players did so. The 2 players is the 2 answers.
Michael Vick.
Toddy?
Oh, it's Toddy first? Oh,
Toddy followed the system of putting the hand up.
I
Kaz
don't
gets
know,
the
bro.
answer.
Let me sit back. I don't. So I got to
That's
raise my
what
hand.
the
I'm
now?
gonna say Michael Vick though. That's
It has to go to Kaz because I don't know if Toddy knew that. We have to be respectful. Toddy can go next, but Toddy just should not be able to get the Michael Vick answer.
So wait, the rule is I got to raise my hand.
Kevin.
Yeah, because he doesn't understand the rules. He doesn't understand.
I don't
the rules.
care. Kaz can have the answer.
Okay.
All right, so Kaz, ding, ding, ding. Kaz gets a point. Michael Vick.
My bad.
is
My
correct.
bad. I'm a little
Who, Toddy? Who was the other guy? Kevin, I got you next. Toddy, who was the other
Go
guy?
ahead, Kevin. Go ahead. Since you know.
Toddy don't know.
Well, Toddy, you.
We all have Michael
you
Vick in
have-
our head.
Toddy,
I don't know another
Toddy,
one.
you have Toddy.
Mark
you have the right to
Brunell.
go first.
Mark Brunell.
No, that is incorrect.
Damn.
Kevin, who's your guess?
Randall Cunningham.
No, this
left-handed.
so
I
just
don't, bruh. What? We all knew one person. We all watch a lot of football.
So just to reread this question. So this is yesterday when Penix and Tagovailoa both started in Week 16. It was the first week since 2012 that 2 left-handed quarterbacks started in the same week. So Michael Vick and someone else both started in 2012.
Who was left-handed? Left-handed quarterback.
Once you guys guess this, yeah, Cass, go ahead.
Damn it! I don't know why did I raise my hand.
Once you guys,
I don't know.
once you guys
Brock
hear this,
Osweiler.
No, that is incorrect.
not left-handed.
Would we guess him?
Yes,
Like
You
we
should
should
guess
be-
him.
We should.
you
Oh,
should
wow.
guess him.
2012 left.
Is he black?
hand?
No, he's not
No,
black.
he's not black.
That's a huge hint. No, he's not
No,
black.
I don't got it.
Kaz was about to guess a light skin.
Tim Tebow.
Ah, ding,
There we
ding,
go.
ding. That is correct. Tim Tebow.
I was gonna say Colin Kaepernick. I ain't gonna hold you, bro.
We know.
Is he
ball
tight
in
end?
this
I
time,
knew it was a light skin. I knew it.
Yeah, I was like, no. He's got a fro, but I don't know.
Well, Toddy, ding, ding, ding. You get that correct. So Toddy picks up a point. Kaz picks up 2 points this week as well as Toddy. So the current scoreboard is Toddy 16, Kevin 12, and Kaz 2. Kaz,
Tebow,
as Gary would say, you have a lot of
couple years.
DMPs at this point. And so I apologize for that. But Kaz gets 2 points, Toddy gets 2 points, and Kevin, if you could now take us to our next segment, please.
What the hell, DMPs?
Did not play. Or did not participate. Did not participate.
Okay. I was like, I know what that means in football. I'm like, okay, I can make sure. Yeah, I got you.
So, Kaz, I don't know if you watched last week, but the dude to the left of you attacked me brutally, ambushed me. My back was against the wall. He was screaming from the fucking towers. Derek Stingley is a top 5 corner in the NFL.
Oh,
So it's time to put that to the test. So this or that, Derek Stingley Jr. First name up, Sauce Gardner.
Derek Stingley.
Give me Sauce Gardner.
At this point, I'll take Stingley.
Give me Sauce. This one year of him being on the worst team ever ain't doing it for me. I see enough out of Sauce.
Next name.
Nobody was talking about Derek Stingley
No.
last year or the year before. Yeah, no.
He was hurt.
Don't matter. Sauce wasn't. He was balling.
Next name, Jalen Ramsey.
I'll take Jalen Ramsey. Still.
Right now?
I'll take Stingley.
Give me
Ramsey's
Stingley.
washed.
Yeah, give me Stingley. Ramsey's a safety now, like pretty much.
Next name, Marshawn Lattimore.
Lattimore, OHIO.
Stingley.
Yeah,
I'll take Stingley just because fuck that man. Fuck him. He was cosplaying a backpack on AJ Brown yesterday because he can't guard him.
Next name, Jair Alexander.
I'm gonna take Stingley because Jair be hurt all the time.
The pack is back, baby. Give me Jair Alexander.
Give me Jair, bro. I like that cat.
The pack is indeed back, but I'll take Stingley.
Give me Jair, bro.
Next
Jair
name,
just be hurt all the time. That's my only thing.
Denzel Ward.
Stingley.
I'll take Stingley.
I'll take Ward, OHIO.
Denzel Ward, 1,000%. Next name, Trent McDuffie.
Who?
Trent McDuffie.
I'll
Derek
take
Stingley.
Yeah, I'll still rock with Stingley.
He was first team All Pro last season. What the fuck was Derek Stingley last year?
Who? Who?
Kevin set us up with that one.
All-Pro guy. You're gonna take Derek Stingley over Trent McDuffie?
Yeah.
Hey, we're talking about now, not last season.
He's one of the best.
Sometimes. Yeah, I was gonna say.
All right,
He plays on the Chiefs.
So
All
okay,
right.
so let's talk about Sauce then. Let's talk about Sauce.
No,
Gardner.
no,
It's
you know what? I'm gonna put this to an end. I'm gonna cancel a couple of these names. Next name, Pat Surtain.
Pat.
Surtain. I'll take
That's the
Surtain.
best corner in the league.
Yeah.
Christian Gonzalez.
Ooh.
I
Give me
like
Christian Gonzalez
Christian Gonzalez.
all day. That's an easy one.
He liked that.
Yeah, I like the
That's the
Gonzalez.
easy one.
Christian Gonzalez. Next name, Trayvon Diggs.
Stingley.
Stingley. That's boom or bust.
Them interceptions don't mean shit when you get torched for 150.
Two
I got
names
2
left.
picks.
Jalen Johnson.
I'll take Stingley.
Flip a coin. Stingley.
Jalen Johnson was all pro last year. That's what Kevin's gonna say.
Was it? There's no way he was all pro, brother. He wasn't even top 75. We were top 100.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure he was. You might be able to look that up.
No. Last name, Quintanamo Bay. Quinyon Mitchell.
You already know. Come on, bro. It took one literally just a hiccup in last night's game for him to finally get scored on significantly by Jaevon.
Give me Quinyon.
The man does not get scored. I want to hear what I'm gonna say. What do they got to say?
I'll take Quinyon. He's a big corner.
That's it.
I'll be a devil's advocate and go with Stingley.
Why?
just to be that guy.
Just to be that guy.
Wow.
Just like you picked the Commanders this week. That's Shaun.
And I was right.
Oh,
Quinyon Mitchell is better than Derek Stingley, bro. But it's really not even close.
I'm not saying
Trent
you're
Duffy?
wrong, but I'm gonna be that guy.
You got to be that guy. Go ahead.
That's the
This is
last
like
game.
this all Eagles bias aside too. I'm just like the guy doesn't get scored on, and he has like guys,
Quinyon is
he has guys throwing or putting up 10 yards a game like on average throughout the whole season.
Unfortunately, fellas, I got to hit the road, so I will see you guys next Monday. But the guys are going to take over. Toddy is still smoking that good, so Toddy, send me the location, brother, because Trent McDuffie's way better than Derek Stingley Jr.
Drive safe, Kevin. Happy holidays to you.
Have a happy
Take
Merry
care,
Christmas.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
And Kaz, and now it's time for some college football, and so I wish you a Merry Christmas as well.
Roommate's dying in the background.
Yeah, I don't know why he does that when we're working, but yeah, you guys have a Merry Christmas too. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
us as always. All right, Toddy, let's close things out with some college football as OHIO, damn right. And shout out, Bovada thanks you for that donation.
Oh God.
But yeah, it was a real chalky first round of the college football playoff. The first time that we have had a first round and not just the semifinals, as each home team, each higher seed won, and they all won by double digits. The closest one was the first game of the weekend, and the reactions after that game was like that game was a 40-point game. But Notre Dame, they beat Indiana in the Battle of Indiana, 27-17 on Friday night. Then that takes us to Saturday morning. Number 6 Penn State beat number 11 SMU. This was the most lopsided game of the weekend, or one of them at least, as the Nittany Lions won 38-10. Number 5, Texas defended its home field and beat number 12 Clemson 38-24. And the number 8 Ohio State Buckeyes beat number 9 Tennessee 42-17 at the Shoe. Basically, just what was your reaction from this weekend? Because rather than dissecting each game, it really just seemed to have the same theme all weekend.
Yeah. If you would have bet $100 and kind of just rolled it over into every game, you probably would have won it upwards of $1,000. I think you'd be like around almost at $2,000, maybe a little bit under that. I feel like I should have done that, and then I got greedy at the end with Tennessee. But just as far as the games go, I thought Indiana was going to win, but because I thought Indiana had a better quarterback play, but I definitely underestimated. I didn't really underestimate Notre Dame's running game because I talked about Jeremiah Love on last week's show. And I was saying that he could be like the X factor for them, and he had the 98-yard touchdown run. Didn't really come in too much after that. He played a little bit after that, humongous run, but he was limited due to he was dealing with a little bit of injury, but I don't think that'll hinder him in playing in the next game against Georgia. Indiana, I think their coach Kirk Cignetti really kind of just left his nutsack at home. The way that he was calling the game, he was acting like it was 0-0 still, and they were down multiple scores, punting the ball, giving the ball back to Notre Dame multiple times late in the game. Didn't really have any type of gumption in trying to win the game. And Notre Dame pretty much just rolled at home. The next game in Penn State versus SMU. SMU early was driving, but Rhett Lashley, the head coach for SMU, was trying to be aggressive early and try to go for it in the red zone rather than just taking the points, because obviously it's playoffs, it's win or go home. They end up getting stuffed on, I think it was like 4th and 1, and that kind of just rolled over. Kevin Jennings had 2 pick sixes in the game, which is insane. When you have pick sixes in a game, it's going to be hard to win because literally your defense is scoring, taking the burden off of your offense, and it's just going to be tough for the offense to kind of come back out and try to go out and put points on the board. But when your quarterback's turning over the ball, it's really you really don't really have a chance to win. Third game, which was probably the most competitive game, even though Texas won by 2 touchdowns. Sort of a shootout, a lot of points being scored. Clemson came out firing on all cylinders early. I thought the difference in this game was the run game for Texas, and they were running the ball extremely well, being able to open things up for Quinn Ewers in the pass game. And I kind of thought Cade Klubnik was turning the ball over in key spots that would have kind of, had them, given them a little bit more of a fighting chance to win the game, but those turnovers were very timely. And shout out to Texas, they covered the spread, needed that dearly. A lot of people didn't want to take that number. It was kind of a big number. I just thought Texas at home in one of the first 12-team playoff games ever, they would show up. The last game, God, this game was just – they just saw red. Ohio State versus Tennessee. The reason why I took Tennessee is because I was hearing a lot of things about them, taking over the stadium. I thought Nico Iamaleava, it's tough to say his last name, Nico, I thought he was going to come out and, kind of have his coming out party that I would have liked to see him throughout the season. You could argue that game was against Alabama, but he hasn't really had that game that's like, oh, okay, like he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in college football for the next up and coming years. This game was just lopsided from the start out. Ohio State, like Will Howard started the game like 5 of 6 for 120 some yards and 2 touchdowns. Jeremiah Smith was unguardable. Emeka Ibuka was getting the ball. Travion Henderson was doing sign language in the end zone. And they're up 21-0 in the first quarter. Shaun, I don't know if you saw LeBron at the end of one of his post game against the
DK, 21-0.
Yeah, DK was talking to his Dalton Connect. He went to Tennessee, and obviously LeBron's a coveted Ohio State fan.
Hey, D-Lo, make sure to let him know.
Yeah. LeBron he was watching, he had the game on in the background, and you could see
Sacramento.
Yeah, it was in Sacramento. You could see Travion Henderson running for a touchdown in the background. He was like, hey, DK, it's 21-0. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It was pretty insane. But, I mean, the playoff, a lot of people were going to complain about, oh, well, this team, Ohio State or Alabama should have been here. Ole Miss, South Carolina. Paul Feinbaum was talking shit. Then Tennessee gets smacked. You saw Lane Kiffin was talking shit on Twitter. Joel Klatt started going at him, the guy that calls the big noon kickoff games. I just thought it was very interesting about how a bunch of people were going to be mad either way it went. I think Ole Miss or Alabama could have beaten an SMU or an Indiana. Yes. But at the same time, Ole Miss lost to Kentucky at home. That was their only Power 4 win. And then Alabama lost to Oklahoma on the road, who's 6-6. So, like, I get it.
And
yes,
Vanderbilt.
These games would have probably been yes, and also Vanderbilt on the road after they just beat Georgia. These games were something to look at in the future. Like, hey, let's maybe let's tweak the seating. Not everybody. I think even in the next coming games, it might like there's 2 games that are double-digit spreads. The Boise State, Penn State game, 10.5 point spread. The Texas, Arizona State game, 13.5 point spread. And these are playoff games. So if we see 2 blowouts again, I think the committee is going to come back next year and say, okay, I don't know if everybody, if you win your conference, you're not going to just get a bye. I think they should just rank the 12 best teams and just go from there. It's going to be tough with, conference championship games. People are going to be like, well, why do we play conference championship games? Maybe you get rid of those.
Yeah, that was part of the argument as to why SMU should get in, because they were in before they lost that conference championship game.
Yes. If nothing were to, I saw Rhett Lashley do a couple of interviews saying if we wouldn't have played in, like, if everybody got COVID and we didn't play this game, we would be in the playoff. So conference championships, that's going to be something that the committee is going to take into consideration. Do we get rid of them? Do we keep them? But it's going to be hard to say because the leagues make a bunch of money from those conference championship games that weekend. So people are going to, there's always going to be some pushback either way. But at the same time, I think there's a difference between most deserving and best. Kirk Herbstreit also said the same thing during the broadcast. Like, hey, is this team better than this team? Probably not. If you look at their schedule, they played this team, and this team, but this team is 11-2 or 11-1, but Alabama's 9-3. I don't think all schedules are created equal. I think, bless you, I think a bunch of teams, they benefit off of having a easier schedule versus SEC. I wouldn't say their non-conference schedules are the best because there's Mercer's, there's Middle Tennessee States on there. But when you get to their league games, they're playing Ole Miss, they're playing Georgia, they're playing Texas, they're playing, those are the teams that they end up going against in their league. These are their league games. So there was a lot of talk about making, instead of having, I think it was 7 league or conference games, they were going to extend it to 8. Now a lot that might get pushed back a little bit to, like, we'll probably just keep it at 7 and schedule another cupcake game. But I don't know if the format currently is going to be the format we see the next year, because they might expand it to 14 games because we just want to see more games. More games equals more money for the committee. So it was good to see. I won money on it. So, I mean, a lot of people were complaining because the games weren't exciting, but I was heavily engaged because I was gambling on them.
For sure. And I'm really happy for you, aside from that donation. Tried to tell you beforehand, but I was just a biased Buckeyes fan. And my friend Keith told me the same thing. Like, before the game, I was like, they're going to win. He's like, oh, you're downplay. You're acting like Tennessee is a scrub. I'm like,
if you guys play like that, you guys can win the national championship.
Yeah. We're going to preview the quarterfinal games on next week's episode because the quarterfinals don't actually start until next Tuesday. We'll be here next Monday. So we'll get to previewing the quarterfinals next week. But the one thing I'll say about that is that it being Ohio State versus Oregon and it being at a neutral site at the Rose Bowl, that is a huge advantage for the Buckeyes, and that's why the Buckeyes are favored by 2 points in this game. As the 8th seed going against the top seed in the nation, that's why they're favored, is because it's on a neutral site. Even if
lost by 1
undefeated
on the road at
exactly.
Oregon. So, I mean,
exactly. And they were driving too if Will Howard didn't pull the ball down and not realize how much time was left on the clock, but I'll let that go. My biggest takeaway from this weekend, first and foremost, from the Buckeyes fan perspective, I'll speak for Kevin and I was confident going into this game. I definitely, OHIO, thank you, Toddy. But going into this game, I was definitely confident as an Ohio State fan, but I didn't think it'd be like this. I didn't think Ohio State would win 42-17. Be up 21-0, as we talked about. They cut it to 21-10 at halftime. It almost was 28-0. And so, like, this game quickly could have gotten away from the Volunteers as it did in the second half as they stepped on their throat. But I didn't expect it to be like this. And really my biggest takeaway from this weekend is these home teams and the higher seeds winning in the first round by so much is exactly why we didn't see a 16-team college football playoff. Because imagine if we saw 16 seed it would have probably been Clemson. And Clemson going to play in Eugene at Autzen Stadium against the Ducks. That would have been, I mean, hey, Clemson, they held tough with Texas. But that would have been a 3-score game at least. And we see all these blowouts with such competitive matchups, or at least what we thought should be competitive, especially 8-9, 7-10.
It should be like Boise State and Arizona State should be playing against each other. They shouldn't be playing, or like SMU should be playing against Clemson. Like those are the teams that would be probably more excited, or like a Indiana versus, a Miami. Like those teams are kind of supposed to play against each other. They're not supposed to play against Ohio State or
at least not in the first round.
Yeah, at least not in the first round. We would like to see them. That's why I would like to see the committee change the format of how it looks right now, because but Boise State's not top 14 in the country. I'm sorry. They're not. They're not. Arizona State, I love Kenny Dillingham. They're not a top 14 in the country. I'm sorry. That's just how I would see it, how the schedules, how everything is they kind of lucked up into how the format came about, because you won your conference. You get a bye. Like last year, Florida State won their conference. They didn't get shit. I feel like the reason why if you win your conference, you get an automatic bye is a lot has to do with Florida State last year going undefeated, winning their conference, not getting to the playoff.
I also do think that while I completely agree with you that they should just rank them, because that was the thing that I thought was so weird, is like, okay, here's your college football bracket ranking. Here's your overall ranking. And it was just weird
totally
to me.
Different.
Yeah. And so that was weird to me first and foremost. But I will say that I think part of the logic behind that is when you win your conference championship, you have to play that extra game. And so like you win, you get that extra week off to compensate for the extra game that you played.
Yeah.
Or if you lose, you end up like SMU, who played in the conference championship game, lost, and then still had to play in the first round on the road. And so it's really a catch-22. But to me, this first weekend just showed us why it should probably be 8 teams rather than 12. But the college football in general, they want their money. And so they stretched it from 4 to 12. I doubt that they would decrease it, just because it might be more competitive matchups. Like they want their money. If anything, they're going to probably expand it again to 16, even though we've seen this. And something else I was talking about with my friend Keith is like, to me, I feel like you might see one matchup or one upset in 10 matchups in this format with the first round.
Probably.
I don't think we can see it next year.
This year. Yeah, no. There's just more games now. There's 11 games. We had 4 games last year. Mm-hmm. That was what the 14 playoff. We had 4 games. 3 games, 3 games, yeah. My math is not mathing.
All good.
But now we're just getting more games now. So like I said, I think the format shit doesn't necessarily mean more games are better. But I feel like if the format gets tweaked, we might see the vision of what the committee was trying to appeal to everybody in the country this past weekend.
Yeah, I mean, if you win your conference championship, you should be in the dance, but it doesn't mean you have to be a top 4 seed. And you can kind of leave it there. And Toddy, do you have any closing thoughts here for episode 129? We will be previewing the quarterfinals next week, as well as week 17 in the NFL. We'll do a recap of that. But do you have any closing thoughts for the audience? Oh, I'm sorry. Give me a second. I actually got this loaded up earlier. Here's the ticket.
That was the ticket from this past weekend. We're having a good Christmas. That's all I'm going to say. I have no reason to lie on the show. I have no reason to lie on the show. Me and Kevin don't just be talking out our ass. We like to show what we're about. So, I actually wanted to get your thoughts on the Sacramento Kings. I saw our friends, D'Lo and KC. I don't know if they were like on the news or something last night.
Yeah, they're always they do common or regular hits on CBS 13 where they have like a Sunday night sports show.
Got a little special. So I saw them talking about the loss to the Pacers. Now,
That's
you guys are
disgusting.
on a 3-game losing streak, if I'm not mistaken. Lost
Four.
to the Lakers. Four-game losing streak. Lost to the Lakers twice, favored in both
Yep.
games, and then lost to the Pacers on Sunday. There was a report that came out about Rich Paul meeting with Monty McNair about De'Aaron Fox's future. Not sure what that means, but Kevin and I have discussed De'Aaron Fox potentially leaving Sacramento. But before he can just get up and leave, let's trade him and try and get some assets for him. So I wanted to get your thoughts on just the Kings in general, how the season's going, and do you think De'Aaron Fox is going to leave? If so, where should he go? Where should you guys get for him?
Well, the thing I will say is, like, as much as I love the DeMar DeRozan signing, just because it's the biggest signing in Kings history, it really kind of stunted the growth of Keegan Murray. Mike Brown has been trying to force Keegan Murray to be a 4. He's been trying to force him to be a stretch 4. Yeah. He should be a 3. And DeMar coming in, he is a natural 3. He could play the 2, but he's a natural 3. And so they just aren't a well-oiled machine, plain and simple. They are struggling, and to also, like, the one game that you didn't mention, a part of this 4-game losing streak, was last Monday when they lost by 1 point against the Denver Nuggets. And
they were winning that game.
They were losing by 20 points in the first half. Came back, took the lead in the third quarter. Then it was a back and forth fourth quarter, and then they ultimately lose by 1 point to the Nuggets. Then they lose at home to the Lakers 2 games in a row. Then they absolutely, you have the guy that you chose to deal off so you could keep Fox. And that guy came back into your house yesterday and he walked out. I mean, it was technically 37-point win, or excuse me, 27-point win, but it was really like a 40-point loss when you really look at things. Like, when it really got out of hand and when the starters came out, they were damn near down 40. And it was just a disgusting game. This team just looks broken. I hate to tell Kevin he's right, but the draft pick of Devin Carter, it's just not, like, he could end up being great, but right now he's not playing, and we need him to play. We need any type of contribution we can have. The whole reason why eventually, but 2024 is about to come to an end, and we haven't seen him yet. And the thing I kept telling Kevin as to why Malik Monk shouldn't start is because then the bench is dog shit afterwards. And that's partially because the high draft pick that you had hasn't suited up yet. And the last thing that I'll say about it is that Keon Ellis got a DNP. Keon Ellis is an elite defender. He may not always be consistent when it comes to the offensive game. He may be a little gun shy when it comes to shooting those open threes that he is on the floor to do when he's not locking someone up on defense. But for Mike Brown to not even play him yesterday against the Pacers until late in the game when it was already out of hand, just doesn't make sense to me. And it's just another thing as a Kings fan, I guess.
Yeah, lots going on. Expected a lot from this team. Obviously, they missed the playoffs last year, got to the play-in. And then you signed DeMar in the offseason. You draft Devin Carter. And you expect a lot more. You expect Keegan Murray to take a jump. The styles of play definitely clash. Having a De'Aaron Fox, a guy of one of the fastest guards in the league who likes to get up and down, versus having a DeMar DeRozan, a guy who likes to play in the half court, slow the pace down. I think you guys can still score the shit out of the ball. The defense is non-existent. From a head coach in head coach in Mike Brown, who's known for being a defensive guy in this league for, the past however many years he's been coaching. And then to see, De'Aaron Fox maybe get traded, the Kings are looking at guys like Cam Johnson, Kyle Kuzma, pretty much the same guys that they've been in trade talks for the last however many years. And yeah, this is a very disappointing season for the Kings. You would have expected them to be a top 4 or 5 seed. That's kind of where I had them at in the pregame show before the season started. So shout out to our boys D-Lo and Casey. I just saw that on the internet webs and wanted to get your thoughts on it because I haven't really been able to get Shaun to talk about basketball, and he is a coveted Kings fan.
Yes, I am. I am a devoted, diehard Kings fan. Shout out to friends of the pod, D'Lo and KC. We appreciate them for joining us on previous episodes. Make sure to go check those out. In the first 100, I believe they were on 35 and 51, if I remember correctly. But I could just be taking. You're gonna be taking a shot in the dark right there. But yeah, shout out to D'Lo and KC, the greatest sports talk show in Sacramento. Beat anything that's on KHTK Sports 1140. It's not even called that anymore. I sound old. It's called Sacktown Sports. Anyways, shout out to D'Lo and KC, and we're all going through it right now. At least you have the Celtics. Like, it's a double whammy.
We lost tonight. We lost to the Magic. Hopefully.
Yeah, but we're
second in the East. Yeah, we're still.
No big deal. But hey, I mean, as bad as things feel for the Kings right now, they're 4 games out of the 6th seed. They're 3 games out of the 8th seed. They're 2 games out of the 10th seed.
All hope isn't lost yet. Don't hit the red button, guys.
All hope is not lost. And so with that does it. Make sure to give us a like on YouTube. It helps us a lot. And if you enjoy the podcast, hit subscribe to get notifications when we go live. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Stats Over Politics and on X at Stats or Politics. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on all podcast platforms. If you're enjoying the show, give us 5 stars. We'd really appreciate it. As you guys have been tuned in to episode number 129 of Stats Over Politics. For my guys, Jaevon, Toddy, Kaz Johnson, and Kevin Dent, I've been your host, Shaun Holko. Thank you for tuning in. I made it to the end, and we will see you next Monday on another episode of Stats Over Politics. But before we do, we hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas. Toddy, close us out.
I just want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody. Appreciate you.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Peace out, everybody.